adjust the lights. You know, it's whoa.
Whoa, hey.
Whoa.
Ooh, yeah.
Yikes. Looking good. Looking so fine. Now. Okay, go now.
What?
Go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Miltich.
Matthew Parker Hill.
Welcome to Cares Mindful, our live Facebook show, broadcast. I don't know what we call it. This is all new for us.
Thingy. Great to see everybody. Hopefully everyone, well, we hope you're here and you watched the 7-part series we made on trauma from COVID. Trauma. You're the PhD. You decided to roll this thing out. So
I
trauma.
did. I just felt like it was important for us to talk about and for people to have some strategies. And the more I talk to friends and, scroll through social media and deal with my patients in the various settings, the more I feel it, stressing them. Not even just patients, but people that I work with, medical staff, etc. I mean, this has just taken a toll on all of us psychologically.
People are freaking out. It's a family. It's a family channel.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
don't
not
know
cussing.
if that's.
They are.
The people are
freaking out. They're freaking out.
Well, they're certainly feeling the strain of this.
Yes.
And there's lots of unknown and uncertainty, which creates a lot of anxiety.
Yeah. 21 million people have filed for unemployment. 21.
I thought it was 22. I mean, what's a million here or there?
What's a million here or there? I mean, come on. That's just a staggering number. It's an insane number.
It's the largest. Where did I heard this on one of the shows I listened to, the Daily Drive. I don't know if other people, Apple CarPlay, Daily Drive on Spotify. They were saying it's the largest number. Gosh, and I may get this wrong, people, but I think it's the largest number since the Great Depression, that have filed for unemployment, or it's at least in the last decade. I can't remember. I just remember thinking, wow, that's
it's insane.
really big.
It is insane. Question 1, how can you solve trauma if you end up having it? Ooh. Yeah.
Yes, well,
How do you recover from trauma? People spend a lifetime trying to figure that one out.
people do spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I mean, one is to address it. So, part of resolving it is acknowledging that it's there and using some coping strategies to, put some brackets around it and some structure, so you can say, okay, this is part of my trauma, and, I'm going to accept that and move on, or I'm going to put it in its place and move on. So one of the ways that you could do that is to journal about it and kind of set aside some time each day to journal your feelings of trauma, how it's affecting you, and just getting it out and acknowledging it can be helpful. Professional help is always a good idea, and is rarely as painful as people like to think that it is or imagine that it is. Often my patients come in and after 2 or 3 sessions go, I'm getting a lot out of this, and it's not as hard as I thought it would be. I really enjoy it.
Also, would it be okay to say it's okay to realize you're not okay? To be okay in terms of acceptance rather than fighting it?
Well, yes. I mean, if you have trauma, then to a certain degree you're kind of accepting it. But absolutely, just acknowledging that you have a struggle that needs to be dealt with and needs to be addressed.
Fair enough. I like that. Share it. And would it be acceptable to say finding someone who you love and trust, who's not going to share your secrets, might be a good idea to share that with them as well?
To share that you're not okay?
To just talk
to share with.
To
Absolutely.
Share with. Absolutely. But somebody's safe.
Well, and I think, right, you have to be in a place where you're ready to share that, and that you feel safe. And so part of trauma is you don't feel safe and you don't feel steady. So
the irony.
That could create some irony.
The irony. Oh, geez. Oh, wow. I could see that. think meditation would help? Tough question.
Well, meditation can help, but what happens with trauma is it triggers you. So if you get triggered in the grocery store, it's going to be more difficult to meditate in that moment. Mindfulness techniques of staying in the moment and dealing with what's going on right in that moment can be, more effective than classic meditation.
Yeah. Well, sitting down, keeping your world small.
Yes, I actually just said this to a family member this morning, just narrowing the stimulus field is what we talk about in our world and our field. So dealing with what's going on in the immediate moment. So rather than going, well, I don't know what's going to happen next month with COVID, we're in Tennessee, they're suggesting, I don't think it's a mandate, is it? No, I don't think it's a mandate.
It's not a mandate.
Suggested stay home until the end of the month, and businesses, non-essential businesses are closed until the end of the month. So I try not to think about that. I just try to think about what am I doing today? What's my focus today? What really needs to get done? What's important to me in this moment?
Fair enough. I like that. I know. I think part of the trauma people are experiencing is the fact that all the states are acting differently. Like there's not a doesn't feel like there's a cohesive plan in place, and we like plans and structure.
Right. Well, I was going to say that goes back to the anxiety and the uncertainty. So anxiety stems from fear of the unknown. So, there's a lot of uncertainty. You can be assured that anxiety is going to increase.
Absolutely. How great is that?
All right, I have another question. How can someone be sure they are staying away from trauma? Well, that is a good question.
Wouldn't it be nice if trauma had like a t-shirt? You saw some people are trauma for us, so you see them coming and it's just like, hi, my name is Trauma. You're like,
it would be nice if everybody would. I would love to be like, wow, sorry.
Somebody identified as trauma right on their forehead. So
personality disorder. That would be another, personality disorder. No, thanks.
I'll let you answer that question seriously now that I've put in my pathetic 2 cents.
Right. Well, a t-shirt would be helpful.
I'm here for the jokes.
It's hard to know if you're staying away from trauma. And sometimes we can't control trauma. So I'm going to, as opposed to, traumatic events in your childhood, or trauma, that you can't control, like car accidents, plane crashes, etc. It's hard to know. But if you're feeling very stressed, staying away from trauma. If you are doing things that are healthy for your mental health, you are going to be staying away from trauma. So, what I go to first clinically in practice is sleep, diet, and exercise. So do you have all of those 3 things, under control, modulated, in good practice? If you don't, you're immediately setting yourself up for more of a struggle, not necessarily trauma, but more of a struggle. So beyond those 3, then you're able to check in and say, okay, how am I feeling emotionally? Am I really stressed? If I'm really stressed, then I need to address that somehow. How do you de-stress? Well, one of the ways I do it is to exercise. So I can't go to the gym right now. Gyms are closed. We've been working out in our garage, which, you've done a fabulous job putting that together. It's less than ideal. I still miss the gym.
Yeah. I don't know if I miss the gym. Maybe I do.
I miss
the yoga. I miss the yoga.
I miss the gym. It's a good way to de-stress, which keeps you away from trauma. So anything that can help reduce your stress. So music, art, projects, staying busy in some way, writing, journaling, coloring, anything that helps you feel calmer is going to be good for staying away from trauma.
And I will, I'll add the hippie. The hippie in me will add, go outside and walk in if you have access to a yard and you can walk outside, take off your shoes and walk in the grass, man. Connecting to the earth helps
we call
relieve
it
us.
grounding.
Relieves us of stress, yes. I call it connecting to the earth, man. That relieves us of stress. And that being present, not casting our vision into the future, which is comically uncertain right now, or into the past, which could also be traumatic, and just being here. I'm also going to say avoiding some people. I've enjoyed this isolation thing. Like I have. There's a lot of people, not people that I see, I'm just saying.
Maybe not out loud, babe.
I know, but I'm just saying I can't be alone. There are a lot of people who are missing work, but they're not missing, Dave. Dave's a butthead. I don't miss Dave. There's no Dave in my life that I don't like. I know, who's this Dave guy? But I'm just saying, avoiding people is trauma, which is interesting because now you're trapped with family members, which induce trauma, I think.
How is avoiding people trauma?
How is
Or is it avoiding
people?
trauma?
How is it avoiding trauma? I think there are certain people that bring out the worst in us, and maybe avoiding those people. I don't know how many people don't like going home for Thanksgiving because they're going to have to. Right now, this thing has been politicized, as everything is politicized. It's politicized and monetized. So right now, I think avoiding trauma might be not getting on social media for some people.
Maybe. I think.
I don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
I think it's a good time to reset. And reset who's, there was a researcher I really liked in graduate school, he's since passed away, that talked about kind of the spheres of influence, or the spheres in your world. You have that inner circle, and then you have kind of community, and then you have the larger, and who's in that inner sphere. And I've noticed, just myself personally over the last month, who's really there. Mm-hmm. It is truly those challenging times when you find out, kind of the old cliche, who your friends really are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I think, that's, one way to kind of look at it is, how do you handle that? Like maybe there's toxic people you don't have to be around, and you're like, oh yay, they're not here, and I don't have to deal with them. But then what about other people who, maybe you thought you were very close with, who aren't around?
Yeah.
So
it's always disappointing to find out you're not as important in someone else's life as you thought.
Well, maybe disappointing or maybe freeing. You don't have to put energy into those people.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. This is a good one. What happens when you're in the house with toxic people? Oh, that's a tough one.
That is a setup for trauma.
Texas cage match. Well, Texas cage match. I think, I can
all
only...
up here.
All up here.
Let's not go the domestic violence route.
No, don't. Violence doesn't solve anything. That's an interesting one. I can only speak for us. This is
toxic?
This is what we do. No, we're not. Not that we're toxic.
Sorry, Facebook Live is canceled.
Facebook Live is canceled. We suck. No, I right now, what this has done for us, for you and I, is given us both a very close look in the mirror at ourselves and each other. And it has allowed us both to say daily, I was wrong, I'm sorry. I was wrong, I'm sorry. If you're trapped with...
You do say that almost every day.
Every day.
Just trade it off. Your turn. My turn.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. And I guess, so there are some people out there who their ego doesn't allow them to admit they're wrong. I won't mention any names of people I know. But that is a challenge. So how do you deal with the fact that suddenly you find out that the person you're with or your people, whether it's kids or your partner, is toxic? Because you can't really kick them out right now. I wonder what divorce attorneys are doing right now. Probably licking their chops.
I think you probably could divorce them or kick them out right now. Might not be
advantageous.
It might not be the kind thing to do, but you can't help anybody else if you're not healthy. So I think if you're in a toxic relationship that's become violent or is emotionally abusive, I think you do need to take action. I would disagree with that.
I'm not saying don't take
You know,
action.
go stay somewhere else, find somewhere else that you can go.
A safe
for sure.
place. Yeah.
I think if you're in a situation with a house with a toxic person who is a parent, so I do deal with this, you know, often. So now I'm kind of speaking to teens and preteens. If you're in a house with a toxic parent, that's a really difficult place to be. So I'm going to say that right now. It's very hard because you don't have the choices and the availability that adults do to just go somewhere else because you're not 18. If you do have that ability, you have other family members, grandparents, aunts, uncles, you know, maybe, you know, your parents are divorced and you can go stay somewhere else. Try that because, you know, space helps and you need to get your head, you know, back together and in a good space. If you can't, avoidance is helpful. So, you know, reading, journaling, you know, watching TV, if that's not possible and they are, you know, with you all the time and want your attention all the time, that's where what we talked about before with, you know, narrowing the stimulus field and just focusing on kind of that one moment in time is really the best way to get through that. And, you know, knowing that it won't last forever. Eventually you will turn 18 and you'll be able to leave.
Yeah.
It's not super helpful, but that's the best you can do in that kind of situation.
Yeah, and I would think that one of the joys of that I've learned in recovery is living today in this 24-hour box, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but just this 24-hour period. How can I get through this 24-hour period without drinking? Whatever it is for, you know, not for you, but for me, that's it. So what am I doing today to not do that thing within this 24-hour period? Because that's the only time I can really work on it. And yeah,
That's true.
obviously, if you're getting hit, physical abuse, then you need to seek help from authorities. So no, I would never advocate sticking around if somebody's whacking you around or emotionally abusive and you have the ability to get out. Because not everybody's here to live their best lives, and not everybody's here for us. Unfortunately, I certainly have dropped the ball.
Well, I think sometimes the best thing you can do is take care of yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Since we don't have a question, while you answered, what are ways we can take care of ourselves? Because that's. I go back to reading. I always go back to reading. I love to read.
Well, I mean, if we're framing it in this way, like, right, taking care of yourself. I mean, reading's good, but I think, you know, don't sacrifice yourself. Don't, and you know, that's a struggle I've dealt with, you know, for years because I have the pleaser mentality, and I know many other people do. I'm not alone in that, so I'm fine admitting it after many years.
Oh my God, you have struggles? Get out. Who knew? This is very disappointing.
I know, right?
I was not aware.
You know, but asking yourself, am I doing this because I really want to do it, or am I doing it because someone wants me to do it for them and I won't feel any benefit? If you're doing something, you stop and you say to yourself, am I doing this because I really want to do it and it's going to fulfill me? And the answer is yes, do it. If the answer is, no, I don't think so, you've really got to stop and question yourself.
Agreed. Well, another question.
I know, we do have another question. How can you learn more about mental health during this time? Wow. I think now there's no better time to learn. There's
such
so
a spotlight.
We're getting more of a spotlight, which yay, because I've lived under the guise, many other, you know, mental health professionals will say the same thing. We've lived under the guise of being kind of the ugly stepchild.
Mm-hmm.
That might not be politically correct. However, we've been the ugly stepchild to the medical field and the physical piece. And I think now people are realizing, you know, maybe for the first time, or, you know, it does have more of a spotlight, how important this is now that our world is really changing. So there are many resources. It just depends on how you'd like to learn more, what format. So, lots of books. Have always been lots of books. Gosh, you can't go to the bookstore, but if
Can't go to the bookstore.
but if you go to an online store and just search, self-help. Woo, I used to spend hours in the bookstores in the self-help sections. So plenty of books out there. So many people are doing, what we're doing, Facebook Live, social media,
things on
YouTube. There's lots of ways to learn about it.
Who are some of your favorite influences? Because I can name mine.
Well, some of my favorite influences are no longer with us. That shows my age. However, in terms of contemporary, Brene Brown, I think, is what I love about her and her research is that it is not what we would say ivory tower. Like, she's able to take what she's done in her, career work, life's work, and boil it down to cocktail party conversation, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and she's brilliant at it. So she's very easy to understand, very easy to go, oh, I see how that applies to my life.
What would you? I would sum up her teachings. If you want me to be ready for my summation.
Well, sure.
Here comes my summation of her teachings. Oh wait, then wrap up. All right. So my summations of her teachings: guilt and shame. Everyone has guilt. Everyone has shame. Guilt can lead us to positive changes. Shame is a human emotion that is common to all of us that we run and hide from. And when I experience guilt and shame, I realize I'm just a part of this human experience, and it's good to be human.
See, and that's what I love about Brene Brown. Like, you can say it like that, and people are like, oh, okay. So that's what I'd say. Go watch some Brene Brown. She's doing some stuff on social media, YouTube. She's putting out some content, and she's great. We'll be putting out more.
Yes. And I'm putting in a plug for find all the Wayne Dyer you can on the YouTube. Daddy Wayne. Love me some Daddy Wayne.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We have one more question before we finish. Is social media a good escape mechanism? Pros and cons. I would say it can be if you use it.
Could you do a TikTok dance for us? Yes, we will.
No.
We will.
Okay,
Social media.
That's all you.
Okay. Pros and cons.
I would say it can be good if you use it in a positive manner. If you're scrolling your social media with, looking at pictures of your friends and what they're up to, and it's making you feel bad, obviously, no. Turn it off. If you are looking for content on mental health, if you are looking for content on, exercising, on music, art, etc., I think it's a great resource. I think you have to put a limit on it.
Yes, and you should not, I'm laughing and you should not click on obscure fourth-party references on not papers, but on things, current events from your friends that are trying to lead you in one direction, either left or right. I would say avoid those.
Wait, are you talking about like fake news?
I'm talking about fake news, and I'm talking about fake news, whatever that means. So we're in a weird place because all news right now, I think, is all fake. So I avoid the news.
I would just say,
yes, I avoid the news.
I would just say you need to limit the amount of time on it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I would say, and because I have spent an average of less than 10 minutes on social media over the last 30 days. 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, I was like.
No, I mean 10 minutes. I would say 10 minutes a day. I don't get on.
So, which is, that's fine. I don't know that everybody. Right. I don't know that everybody needs to aspire to that, but I think you do need to set a limit. And I think when we talk about trauma, I'm going to make a point.
I know. Shut up.
When we talk about trauma, if you are spending too much time on social media looking at COVID-19 or looking at political stuff, you are setting yourself up for more trauma. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say it's very important to keep a limit on that.
I would agree with that. I don't really know a TikTok dance, so what should we do? Like the Macarena?
I don't even know if I remember the Macarena.
Hey, Macarena.
And it's like in, then it's out, and then you.
And it's in, or what?
I don't know.
Do this. Do the sprinkler.
Okay.
We've now devolved into me doing the sprinkler for your good emotional health. Yeah.
I think we're done.
Groundbreaking stuff. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, moms. I got 2 moms. I love my moms. if you're on this. Dad's checking on prices, so there you go. I love you, Dad, if you're on here.
All right, be safe, be well.
We love you. You matter.
I love you.
Mwah.